What's up, guys? Puma bringing you another video today in our series, The Best Weapons in Warzone. I'm really excited about today's video because we're going to be checking out one of the more unique assault rifles in Call of Duty, which is the FAL. The FAL is one of the only, it's the only single fire. There's a couple of the VAL, the AS VAL, you can have single fire rounds. Of course, you can make modes, or you can change the bullet speed or the bullet rate for most of the other ARs, but the FAL is the only one that by default is a single fire. There's no way you can add a 3-round burst, but there's no way to turn this into a fully automatic weapon. So a lot of people steer clear of the FAL, at least in this version of Call of Duty. In some of the previous versions, if you'll remember, years ago, there was an M16 that was a single fire or 3-round burst that people used. But generally over the years, people avoid the guns that aren't fully automatic. So the FAL doesn't get a whole lot of attention. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about how to equip it, what attachments to use, so that you can really learn to dominate the war zone with the FAL. All right, so let's go ahead and start off by looking at the stock FAL. This gun comes with a 20-round mag. We are going to be building this gun to be used as a traditional AR for Warzone. We are not going to be building this out to be used as like a long-range sniper or a DMR. If that's what you're after, maybe we'll do another video about this gun later. But for now, we're looking at using it as a traditional AR. So it comes with a stock 20-round mag. This is no attachments. We're going to look at the recoil pattern, and I'm going to be assuming that we're going to fire this as quickly as possible, single fire, like a traditional AR. Okay, so there you have it. We got a little bit more vertical and horizontal on the first one. Now there's a chance that I may have moved my mouse a little bit to affect some of this, but you can see the overall pattern. 45-degree angle up and to the right. 45-degree angle up and to the right. Again, assuming that we're going to try to put as many shots downrange as possible and fire this at a single fire rate, fire this as quickly as possible. Okay, so the next loadout that we're going to look at, or the next set of attachments that we're going to view here, is again the 3 underbarrel attachment monolithic suppressor and the long range barrel. We have the mono. The long range barrel for the FAL is called the XRK Marksman, and the first one we're going to look at is the Merc foregrip. Now the Merc foregrip offers recoil stabilization as well as a hipfire bonus. Hipfire is fairly obvious. It just means when you're not ADSing, you're more accurate with the gun. But that's not really why we're using it. We're using it for the recoil stabilization, which has to do with the left and right, or the horizontal aspect of recoil. Next, we're going to look at the Commando foregrip, but for right now, we're going to look at the Merc foregrip setup, which again is going to help with the left to right recoil. All right, so there you have it. Now, there's a lot of unknowns, or there's a lot of variables here. For example, the rate I'm able to click my mouse means it's going to change the fire rate. So maybe you can click your mouse, or if you're on controller, maybe you can hit that trigger button faster. Maybe some of you can't as fast as me. So that's a variable that we don't see with other ARs, which have a constant fire speed. Just pull down the trigger and it fires. But here we have it. This is the first set. This is a pretty tight spread considering we're trying to shoot as fast as possible. Again, pretty tight spread. On this last one, we got more of a spread, but it's still, here was our stock, no attachments, and here's with the Merc foregrip. So we've tightened it up quite a bit. You got recoil control bonus from the barrel, and so it's significantly better. Okay, so the next loadout, or the next setup we're going to go with here, is the same three attachments, right? So we like to keep it to 3 because that gives you guys the ability to pick 4 and 5. Maybe you want an optic, maybe you want ammo, maybe you want something else. These 3 are the sort of must-haves when you're playing Warzone. So we've got the mono suppressor, the XRK Marksman barrel, again, the long-range barrel. And this time we have the Commando foregrip. The Commando foregrip offers, the biggest thing is going to be your recoil control. So control has to do with the vertical aspect of recoil, whereas the Merc foregrip had recoil stabilization, the left and right aspect. This one has recoil control, which is going to help with vertical. So we're going to look at this and see if we can find a difference. You can kind of look at the recoil pattern and see what you think might be better for you. But let's take a look. And there's my Pila as a secondary, apparently. So now here it is with the Commando foregrip. Much less vertical. I don't know if you guys can tell. Much less vertical. The horizontal component is much more pronounced than with these three. 1, 2, 3 are the Commando foregrip. So not a whole lot of horizontal where we see a little bit more vertical. And then over here, like this first one is a great example where almost no vertical component to this recoil pattern and a lot of horizontal. So that's the Commando foregrip. So as I look at this and I try to decide, well, what's going to be best for me? Generally, you want to stay away from the left-right because it's hard, you know, how do you control that recoil as you're shooting? Do you just try to go left and, you know, that's much harder to control. The vertical aspect is much easier. So as I start to try to control this recoil, having a vertical component and no horizontal component is a lot easier. So what I'm going to do is look at the Merc foregrip for this gun over the Commando foregrip. Okay, so now comes the quote-unquote real-world test. Instead of just shooting at a wall, we're going to be shooting at targets at different ranges. We do this in all our videos. And for these, I'm going to actively try to counteract the recoil that the gun naturally experiences by moving, in this case for me, it's my mouse. For you, might be a mouse, might be a controller, or a joystick. So here's the first loadout that we're going to go with, is our Commando foregrip. Let me just show you the attachments that I've used for this. I added the VLK 3x optic. These are the 3 must-haves. And for the FAL, I went ahead and added a grip. Now, the reason for that is the ammo options for this gun are a 24 or a 30 round mag. Now, the gun normally carries a 20 round mag, so I'm not really getting a ton of extra with either of those. And the damage with the FAL is good enough to where if I'm landing my shots, I can put 2 people down with a 20 round mag. So it's not like the AK where I need a 45 or a 50 round mag. 20 should be enough, and I'm not going to gain that much from 24 or 30. I'm not using a laser like a tack laser, so I went ahead to try the rubberized grip tape, which has a recoil control component. There aren't any other attachments that are going to offer recoil stabilization. If you look at the stocks, for example, aim stability, ADS movement speed, aim walking speed, so the stocks aren't going to help you out. The only attachment left that'll help with recoil in any way is a grip, and it's the rubberized grip tape. So although recoil control isn't as important for this gun as recoil stabilization, I wanted to go ahead and attack the recoil with one more attachment. So again, here's the first gun we're going to be using, the Commando foregrip. The next one will be different only by the fact that it's got a Merc foregrip. And we're going to be aiming at the pink targets on the right for this one. Remember, I'm going to be actively trying to cancel out the recoil and counteract it. And let's see how we do. All right, let's take a look at that first one. Now, you can tell when you're single firing, it's just totally different. There were times where my brain would sort of pause. I'm sort of getting in the habit of, well, pause and sort of try to correct my aim before I take the next shot, things like that. But the spread is honestly pretty good. And when you talk about bullet to bullet, being able to really land some of these shots, now these targets aren't moving. Obviously, I'm not moving. But it's much easier to hit some of these shots than with some of the other guns, I feel like. So the damage is good. The accuracy is good. Let's take a look at the range next. All right, so here's our second target that we're going to be shooting at with the Commando foregrip loadout that we have. This is about 100 or 120 meters away or so. One of the nice things I'm anticipating about the FAL is the fact that it's single fire means the recoil is not going to be as bad and the accuracy will be a little bit better, which at longer range really matters. That's why sniper rifles aren't fully auto. They're single fire. So let's see what we can do at this range. I'm hopeful that this gun is going to perform better than almost any other gun I've tried out so far, but let's take a look. All right, so you guys can see that now. Generally, the bullet impacts aren't going to register from this distance. I'm not going to run over there so you guys can see where they landed. So this is a hard distance. As we talk about in all of our videos, this is about the range that you're going to stop wanting to use an AR to engage. And if you have a DMR or a sniper, you're going to use it. If you don't, you're just going to let that guy keep running. Don't try to shoot at him. So this is a very difficult, this is at the limits of our AR range. It doesn't perform super awesome. Now I probably wouldn't feel as comfortable going full auto mode with the FAL at this range. But if this guy is behind a tree, if he's mounted, or if he's crouched, it's not impossible to think that I can sort of take my time a little bit more and land some of these shots and down him pretty quickly. Whereas with an AR that's going fully auto, or you try to single tap an AR, another AR, that might be more difficult. All right, here's our second test. This loadout differs only in the fact that we have the Merc foregrip here instead of the Commando foregrip on loadout 3 that we used in the last one. So we're using the Merc foregrip, which I anticipate is going to be a little bit better in performance, again, because it helps with the horizontal component of the recoil, not the vertical. All right, now the game was nice enough to go ahead and sort of delete my my graffiti here, so you can't see the one we shot at just a second ago. But this is our first target. Our second target is back there. Let's see how we do. I'm going to just call it there. So I want to show you guys this spread. I'm not even going to try anymore. That's the tightest spread I've ever gotten for 20 shots. And I've tested a lot of ARs. So extremely accurate. Performed much better in that test than the version of the FAL with the Commando foregrip, and that is because we've taken out the left and right, and we've left the vertical, which is much easier to control. So let me show you one more time, sort of quote-unquote real-life example here. So all we're going to have to deal with is the vertical. There's not going to be nearly as much left and right like we saw with the Commando foregrip in the last example. I mean, that guy's dead 3 times over. Super awesome. Really, actually kind of excited by that result. All right, so let's look at the long-range example. Okay, so that's our target again. This is about 120 meters or so. This is a very difficult one for these tests. This kind of pushes the limits. But let's see how we do. Okay, so again, very difficult test. I think it performed better than the Commando foregrip after doing these tests, and I'm learning a little bit as I go with this as well, because some of this is kind of eye-opening to me. But the Commando foregrip is unequivocal. I'm sorry, not the Commando. The Merc foregrip is unequivocally a better attachment to use for this gun than the Commando. On some guns, that's not the case. On the FAL, it definitely is. Now, I want to show you guys something. If I don't, at this range, and this is something that's nice about the FAL. Let's say that I know, okay, this guy who's trying to kill me, obviously I want to put as many shots down range as possible. This guy over here may not see me. Maybe he's sniping at me, and I want to try to hit him with some bullet punch and just make sure I land my shots, more than I do anything else. If I slow down a little bit, and this is an option I have with this gun. If I slow down a little bit, let's see if I can do better with some of these shots. All right, so you guys saw clearly that was very, very good. By far the best. I mean, at this, what you're almost doing is firing a slightly less damage DMR. That's basically, you know, what's happening with a 20 round mag. So I will say that the really nice thing about the FAL is the ability to kill this guy and the ability to kill this guy. If I adjust my fire rate for the long target, if I adjust my fire rate and some of my recoil for the close target, it's a good AR for both situations. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. What I've learned about the FAL and hopefully what you saw from the FAL is the correct attachments to use. It's the one AR that you really want to make sure you're using, the Merc foregrip as opposed to the Commando foregrip. There's a lot of the fully auto ARs. You're going to want to use the Commando. That's the most noticeable difference that I've seen between Commando and Merc foregrip on an AR so far. So anyone who uses this gun, and there are some streamers out there, there are some big content creators who have used this, who use this regularly. I've played with some players that use this and do really, really well with it. What they'll tell you about the FAL is that it puts people down quickly. If you can hit your shots, it puts them down very quickly. It's one of the reasons they like it. There are downsides. You know, the downside is that it only has a 20 round mag. You have to be more accurate with your shots. If you're shooting someone who's moving, you know, left to right, who's running across the field, it might be a little bit harder to hit them. What I really like about it is the accuracy. Now, I was shooting at stationary targets, again, so take all this into account. The accuracy and the fact that it allows versatility to slow down or to change your fire rate depending on your target and sort of what the situation is. So what I believe is that this gun can dominate Warzone. When used correctly, it can give you a lot of advantages that some of the other guns don't. So you might be in a situation where you already use this and you just want a few tips, or you want to look at some different things, or you might be in a situation where you say, hey, I've been using a certain gun. I really want to switch it up and use something that maybe isn't the meta. Try out the FAL. I think you'll be really surprised with how effective this gun can be. Guys, thanks for checking out the video today. I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button at the bottom of the screen to make sure you get notifications anytime I post new content. We're doing that weekly or more. As well, if you have used the FAL, if you have any questions about this loadout, or if you've used it and you say, hey, you might look at this instead, post that in the comments below. If not for me, for the other people watching this, you can send me messages on my socials, Instagram, Twitter, of course, on Facebook. And as a reminder, guys, I go live most weeknights, currently streaming live on Facebook at fb.gg/armoredpuma17.